because as me following you over the years and me being friends with you and like knowing you, like you're definitely like an empath, right? Like I feel like you're the kind of person who can kind of sit back and you can see like the little characters of like, okay, I see why that shit's working. I see why that ain't working, right? You can see the behavior and shit like that going on. What are the components of a successful relationship?
Communication is definitely one. I know people think it's a cliche, but communication is everything, man. If you can't sit down, you have to be able to sit down with someone in a good relationship during the worst times. If you have to be able to sit down with someone even when they're angry, when they're upset, when you feel like they're about to blow the roof off, you still be able to, you should still have a lot of trust, enough trust to be able to sit down with that person. But it goes both ways. The person that's mad has to feel like they can trust you to be mad around them. And I know that it may sound crazy and weird, but I just want anybody and everybody that actually watches the show and listen to and think about this. In order for me, we always put out these, so-called representatives. I really don't do that, but most people do. We put out a representative as long as we can. But if I can get really angry around you, that's something that I don't want anyone to see. I don't want anybody to see that dark side, right? That takes a lot of trust for most people to do that. So you have to be ready for a relationship, and you have to get ready for that type of impact, because that's a strong impact when your wife or your girlfriend or boyfriend and your husband just out the blue, hey, what you want to eat for dinner? The fuck you mean? Where did that come from? You have to be able to say, okay, let me back up for a second, because obviously something is wrong. But as humans, we're naturally put a guard up and say, well, what you mean? Now we both in a state, it looks like a Mayweather fight now.
So the initial approach to it. So you're feeling something in yourself. Your partner asks you a benign question, and then you just kind of pipe up on some other shit. Then of course that language, that body language, all that tone is gonna make them then buck the fuck up. Now y'all like two rams going at it.
Right, exactamundo. So you have to be able to take that impact and understand. And like, would you say I'm an empath? I'm definitely that. And so if I'm looking at my woman and she says that, she just rolls her eyes, and I'll ask you twice, hey, what's going on? She said, I want to talk about it. I said, are you sure? We can talk about it now, or we can talk about it later. But we need to be able to talk about this at some given point in time. And us as men, we need to be able to say, okay, I understand. Let me know what you mean. Let her be, give her space. Most of the time, especially if you're in a great relationship, she'll tell you within 5 or 10 minutes, or at least up until 2 or 3 hours. She might tell you the next day, depending on what time it is too. If she comes home late from work and something happened at work, just give her time. She'll tell you. Most of the time, most men only want to find out if it's our fault that they're mad.
See, you just gave a tool. You just gave a big tool right there, right? It's asking the question, but not over asking the question.
Yeah.
Giving her space, giving her time, right? Because that's where you said it's building that trust. Right. Then saying, oh, okay, look, I'm here when you want to talk, but I know you need some time. The issue that comes down to it is something we talked about last week, is that a lot of men and women too, they want it to be so much of, they internalize it so much on them that they want the answer now.
Right. Right, exactly. And I think, what I feel from what I see, this is what I tell women a lot whenever I'm doing these coachings. Much as we want to give it to you, you can't always have your way. So if a man is feeling the same way, once again, it's almost the same with women, man. We're a lot more the same than we are different. Women want to find out if it's their fault, but women are natural nurturers. So they want to try to figure out how to fix the problem. You might already know how to fix the problem. Most of the time, I know how to fix the problem, but I just need a vent. So I don't need you to come fixing stuff. I just need you to hear me out because apparently the world is not trying to hear what I'm saying, and I'm trying to better some things. So now I'm upset. And
you need that safe
right,
space.
right, exactly. For men, we need a safe space, but for women, they just need space in general because they don't want to feel bombarded. They don't want to feel overwhelmed. That's why you see women like, "Oh, get off me." They feel like you're in that space. So give her that space and do something in return. Just if you know her favorite, you should know her favorite food, her favorite color, you know, her favorite movie. Just little simple things like that, right? You should know that. You know, and like if I'm with a woman, I know her favorite meal or even her favorite fast food restaurant. Even though I don't really could do the fast food like talking about, but her favorite fast food restaurant. So okay, well I'm gonna give you a space. I'll be back in a minute. I'll come back with whatever it is that I feel like that may cheer her up a little bit. They say, okay, you feel like talking? Or I say, T, tell me about what's going on. And then their guard is down. They feel happy. They got food. You know, they had their space. They had their time. Now it's like, okay, look, this is what happened. And then you get to let her vent. And once again, even to the brothers out here, don't try to fix it. Shut up. Listen. Open your ears, not your mouth. Wait your turn. Because if you keep trying to,
and check that ego at the side.
Yeah.
Like we got to be able to say like, bro, me and my energy that I'm giving off is purely ego, and this shit ain't healthy for nobody right now.
Right. Right.
I love how you emphasize though. Did you hear how you emphasize? You said get her favorite food.
Right. Food, man. Women love food, man. Even if they don't eat a lot of it, man, I'm telling you, women love food, man. So
I learned that from my mom because like as a kid, you know, every time I go to the store and you know, you go get your little sour punch and shit or whatever you're going to get your M&Ms, and then you come back and you know your mom like them damn hot skins.
Yeah.
And you ain't bring none back.
Yeah, right, absolutely.
You gonna hear about that.
Absolutely, man.
I learned that with my wife. It's funny because like my wife does that same thing. I love sour candy. And so my wife sometimes, like we will have a stack of sour candy because my wife would just go to the store and just because she's going to get some gas, she's like, man, let me pick up some Skittles. You know what I mean? And I do the same for peanut butter M&Ms. Like it's just some really small gestures that go such a long way in maintaining happiness with your partner.
Right. Is you know when they say it's the little things, once again, it's something that people feel like that's a cliche. I'm not really big on cliches, but some things do work. You know, it's the little things. You know, there are some women that don't like flowers, so don't buy flowers if she doesn't like them. You know, and some women will just let it go and say, "Oh, it's the thought that counts." But if you're in a relationship with a man or a woman and they don't like flowers, don't buy it. You know, they'll be like, I'm hungry, and everybody knows I'm a foodie, but I don't like chitlins. And you say, okay, I know, perfect thing to get them. And you go get a bag of chitlins. What the hell I'm gonna eat with this shit? You know, that had nothing to do with the way I was feeling. Like, you know, when you said I'm feeling shitty, so there's this, you know, and we get into an argument about that. So don't buy something that you know your spouse doesn't want or doesn't like, you know, and that's where you have to get creative when they don't like the usual flowers, candy. Some women don't eat candy, you know, so what you gonna buy? You have to. That's why you have to figure out. You have to know favorite color, favorite food, favorite things, favorite movie, other little things that would help just to open up that relationship.
If you want her to stay around for a while, you got to tap into her passions.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right.
Tap into her passions. Some of that shit might be, you know, going on a walk. You know, like I don't really like to go on walks, but like that's one thing my wife loves is going on a damn walk. And so like I made a little mental note that I'm 2 days a week, I'm gonna go on a walk. You know what I mean? And I kind of surprised her with it.
Yeah.
And that's like little things that just like, oh, you really care. Like, yeah, obviously I've always cared, but it's like,
Right.
those type of reassurances we kind of owe to our partner, especially, man. Let's just keep it real. Every person got a lot of bullshit that they come with. I don't care who you are. I don't
True.
care who you are. You could be the most stable man or woman. You coming with some bullshit that you're
Right.
you're gonna impress upon another person.
Right.
So you should definitely be making sure, like, let me make this worth them being around.
Right. Right. One of the things I'll say, I'll piggyback on it by saying this. When you first start dating a person, right? The first thing I'll always say, don't bring a representative, represent yourself, okay? But do not do things out of the ordinary that you wouldn't do. I have a few reasons why, a couple of reasons why. Now, one, you should always activate and shine out your virtues. So if your virtue is listening to trap music, listen to it. I'm a hopeless romantic by far. So I'm always about opening the doors for women. I'm always about like giving flowers if they like them, or I try to find out what they like in general because I want the first date to be wherever their favorite food spot is, or I would cook it myself. But when you do that, the reason why you want to highlight your attributes and your virtues first is because those are the things that you're always going to do, period, right? So you're always going to be consistent on whatever it is, whoever it is you are as a core, you're always going to be that, no matter what. So she can never say, or he can never say, well, you used to do this stuff and you stopped. And the reason why you stopped doing this stuff because it wasn't really in you to do. So why not just do what you do? And if they don't like it, they weren't the right person for you. And you might be hurt today, but you'll be glad tomorrow because you're not stuck in a relationship with someone that's in love with your representative and not yourself. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was gonna ask you. The whole attention to detail thing is I think is very key in the maintaining a healthy any type of relationship. And that's a friend, a lover, whatever. I was gonna ask you, do you think it's important to to not empty the clip out early on as far as attention to detail? I ask this because sometimes you date people that are damaged a bit, and sometimes they are wary of your good intentions, meaning that they are so in expectation of a curveball from anybody that they're dealing with, that when you're doing right, oh, he cooked my dinner, oh, he did this, oh, who does he think, that type of thing. So, like, do you empty the clip immediately, or do you just kind of like edit up? Because I mean, me, if I notice your favorite comfort food is Skittles and Cheez-Its, I'm gonna be there with it every time. But
right.
I mean, that's me, because I'm as hopeless as you are.
Yeah. So I'll say this, because that was actually a really good question. I actually like that question a lot, and because it's something that's a question I would ask couples about what's going on with them, because a lot of couples don't even realize they never took the time to figure that part out. And so I would say you don't necessarily have to empty out the clip, but if you have 10 shots, let out about 6 or 7. But don't empty the whole clip out. Honestly, you probably won't even have time to do that, because once you find a perfect mate for you, nobody's perfect, but the perfect mate for you, you guys are going to get to know each other for the rest of your life. You're going to find out stuff. You'll be with someone for 10 years and you're still somehow, some way finding out something new about them. Like, man, I didn't even know that. I've been with you for 10 years. But it just happens that way. So even if you do empty out the clip, man, you have so many bullets when it comes to getting to know a person and getting to know the attributes. You want to, the reason why I say like 6 to 7 shots, you want to try to find at least 5 points of interest about that person. For one, to satisfy them, but also to see if that's something that you really want to, somebody you want to really be around. You know what I mean? Because sometimes you might find out stuff on the first, second, or second date, or even talking to him on the phone. He's like, yeah, this ain't, I don't think this is it. Because, you know, you just shot all these points and looked at all these points. It's like, yeah, this ain't it. And it's okay for it not to be it. You know, because we'll try to make something work that shouldn't be working at all, because we're trying to fix the problem where that might be their virtue and that's just the way they are. And you're going to wind up leaving in a year or 6 months anyway. So you might as well bail out now, cry tonight, and go out on another date tomorrow and try to figure out who you're going to be with.
So you done emptied out the clip and then you realize you don't even like this person.
Right. You wasting bullets.
Bro, damn, I done did all this for you and you grimy.
Right, you grimy as hell.